Hey guys, welcome to our online lessons. Obviously with the whole corona thing, we're not able to go to school and do our lessons there. So we're bringing your lessons to you in your home via the online lessons. I think the teachers at Vineyard have been doing a really great job with that, so I just want to commend them for that. That's really, really cool. And I just wanted to say I hope you guys are doing okay and that you're all well and healthy and staying safe, most importantly. Okay guys, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look at rhythms and different types of note values. Now I know we did this briefly in class at school when we played the djembe drums and we played all those different rhythms there, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail with it this time around. We really want to be looking at how those rhythms work within music, right? Because that's the important thing here. It's cool to learn theory and understand what's going on theoretically, but we also want to understand how those rhythms work within the context of music. So super important with that, all right? And so to do that, what I've actually done is I've written a song for us called The Lockdown Song, and I'm actually going to play through the entire song for you at the end of the lesson, so you guys can see how the rhythms fall within the song there. But to begin, what we're going to do is we're going to have a little bit of a look at the rhythms on our board here, discuss them, see how long they last, what rests are, all of that sort of thing, and then you guys will have a much better understanding, hopefully, of how everything works. All right, so first things first, rhythm is super important in music. Music does not exist without rhythm. It's good to have notes and melodies and things like that, but you need a rhythm to have those notes and melodies. So what I mean with a rhythm is a beat. You could play, let's say, a simple beat like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could change that beat to 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Totally changes things up within the music. All right, so different rhythms give you different feels and flavors, and that's actually what makes a lot of music different, particularly if we talk about Western music. All the different styles we discussed in class, like blues and jazz, even classical rock, all of those kind of things, they all really have the same notes to use, but they all sound really different because of the rhythms. They obviously use their notes differently. Like we know with jazz, they like to use a lot of notes that aren't actually in the key, and that gives jazz a distinct sound. But the rhythm of jazz as well, we have that swing, that whole thing. And then we knew with blues, they also have the swing. That gives you different rhythms and a different flavor. Pop music is very straight down the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on and so forth. So rhythms are what make the genres distinct from each other. Notes as well to an extent, but rhythm is a little more responsible for what's behind it. Okay, cool. So let's jump right in and have a look. So you'll see on the little board that I've written down here, we have a few different note values, and these are the basic rhythms we're going to start with within our songs and in music in general. So the first one we have is our whole note. So that's the little oval looking one there. Now a whole note lasts for 4 beats. So if you were to clap a whole note, it would last like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 beats on a whole note. A half note lasts for 2 beats. So 1, 2. If you had 2 half notes in a bar, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Then you have a quarter note. Now a quarter note lasts for 1 beat. So 1. All right. If we have 4 of them in a bar, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move on to our 8th note. Now, 8th note we need to count a little differently because an 8th note lasts for half a beat. So what we do with an 8th note is we start to use and when we count. So if we did 4 8th notes, it would sound like this: 1 and 2 and. All right, you would have 8 eighth notes in a bar if they were all together, and that would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, so those are your eighth notes. Now, one we didn't really discuss that much in class, but we'll look at it today, is the 16th note. Now, we're not actually going to see that in the song that we've done today, or that we're going to do today rather, but it is helpful to know what it is. So 16th notes, 4 16th notes would sound like this: 1 E and A. Alright, so we break it down. So 16th note is actually a quarter of a beat. So 2 quarters will make up a half. So everything is actually divided amongst each other. So it's a little bit of division here. I'm not giving you math, I promise. It is just very basic division. Alright, now with the 16th notes, if we were to do them, there would be 16th notes, tongue twister there, in a bar. So how you would count that is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and A. Alright, so it's a bit of a faster rhythm there, depending on the tempo of the song, of course. And so those are your basic rhythms and how they work. If we were to mix them, because this is what happens in music all the time, you don't just have one whole note in a bar all the time. You'd have things for every bar rather. You'd have rhythms that change and interlock. So, for instance, if I were to take 2 quarter notes in the beginning of a bar for the first 2 beats, and then put a half note after that, it would look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4 at the end, because it was the half note, and a half note lasts for 2 beats. Another example could be if we took, let's say, 4 eighth notes and then 2 quarter notes. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4. All right. We had our 4 eighth notes in the beginning of the bar, and then 3 and 4 are 2 quarter notes, because they each last for 1 beat. All right, now what I've also done, guys, is you'll find documents for the stuff we're doing today, explaining exactly how it works. You'll also see a document of the song that we're doing and how the rhythms line up in the actual song that we're doing. So everything will be there for you guys to be able to read and go back on and check. But I also encourage any questions. If you guys do have questions, you are more than welcome to contact me. Mr. T can give you guys my email address, and you guys can just contact me if you're confused about anything. You're more than welcome to ask. I encourage it. Okay, so let's jump into our song here. So I got my guitar, because it's always good to have an instrument to illustrate. All right, so how it works is our song is broken down into different parts. We have an intro, we have a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, and a bridge. Now, some of these parts will repeat, but that's the basic structure of our song. Oh, I forgot to mention something. Sorry. At the bottom here, what you guys will see is something called a tie. So what we have there is it's 2 whole notes, but you can see they're connected together by that little bow there. Now that is called a tie. Now what happens with a tie is when it connects 2 notes, but it then lasts for the duration of both of those notes. So for instance, we know a whole note lasts for 4 beats, but this whole note is tied to another whole note. So what's going to happen there is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it lasts for 8 beats in total, because the first whole note is tied to the second one. All right. Oh, and then another thing we have there is our repeat sign. Now the repeat sign you're going to see all over the song. And that is basically just a little sign to tell you you're repeating a section. All right, so what you'll see is you'll play through the song, you'll see one repeat sign, and then you play till you see the other repeat sign. And then you go back to the previous one and play through the song, through that section again, and then you'll be on to your the next section of the song. All right, so it basically just means repeat that piece one time. All right, so it's important for you guys to know that, so that if you do follow along when I do the playthrough of the song, you're able to keep track of what I'm doing. Otherwise, if you just keep going with the sheet music, it's not going to make sense when I've done a repeat, but you're halfway down the song already. Okay, so just a quick little disclaimer there. Okay, so let's jump into the song and check it out. Okay, now in our intro, we have a couple of bars there, and they are all going to have ties to them. And there's a repeat sign. So the intro it would be played twice in this case. Now you'll see there are chords written above. So any of you who actually do play guitar, I know there's one of you who plays bass as well. You could actually follow along and play along to the song if you wanted to. Even on piano or any of those instruments, you could play along if you were that way inclined. All right, so I'm gonna play through it now, so we can just have a look. So it would go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because the two whole notes are tied together. Then we'd go to our next chord: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, they're tied, and then we have another chord, E minor: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on to the last chord of this section of the intro: 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now like I said previously, we would play all of that again because there's a repeat sign. Now, to the next section, we have the verse. All right, now the verse has no repeat sign, so we just play it through. Okay, and the verse is 4 chords, and it's all whole notes, but no ties, so we just play through. So it would look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4 to D, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Then we have something called the pre-chorus. Now, the notes have changed in the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus has 2 halves. You'll see on your chart it says pre-chorus first and pre-chorus second. We're going to look at pre-chorus first. So in pre-chorus first, the rhythms are all going to be quarter notes. So quarter notes: 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so if I play through that: 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so those are going to be the quarter notes. So that's the first half of the pre-chorus. Second half of the pre-chorus, we're dealing with eighth notes. So when we do eighth notes, remember, we have to change how we count. We have to do the and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so if we fall in there on the second half of the pre-chorus: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. Then we're on to the chorus of the song. Now what happens is the chorus is also split into 2. First half of the chorus, second half of the chorus. But here we need to watch out because we have repeat signs. You repeat the first half of the chorus once and the second half of the chorus twice. I'm not going to do the repeats for you guys. Just know that they're there. Otherwise, this video is going to take super long and you're going to get bored. And we don't want that. All right, so first half of the chorus, it's 2 half notes next to each other. So the count is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So my strums, the rhythm I play will look like that. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then obviously repeat. Then after that we have the second half of the chorus. Now we're back to quarter notes: 1, 2, 3, 4. So second half of the chorus will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Now after you've done the chorus, you'll see another little section where it says break. And on that break, there's a whole note. So you'll actually hear in the song the drums come out there. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that'll be the little break section. Now what happens after this is we have the verse and the pre-choruses and the chorus again. All right, so everything I just showed you repeats. So except for the intro. The intro doesn't repeat. So it's going to be, it'll be verse 2 now. Then it'll be another pre-chorus, first half of the pre-chorus, second half of the pre-chorus, and then it's going to fall into the chorus, the second chorus, and it'll be the first half of the chorus, then the second half of the chorus. Obviously, we're just watching where the repeats are, but you guys will see when I do the playthrough exactly how the whole structure works. Now, last part of the song is actually going to be our bridge, and our bridge is also in two halves. First half of the bridge, second half of the bridge. Now, what you'll see here is in the bridge, the first half, the rhythms look a little different. So what we're dealing with rhythmically is it's going to be 2 eighth notes and then a quarter note. And then after that quarter note, you guys will see a little rectangular shape. That's called a rest. Now, on the document that I've given you guys, there are rests on there to explain that as well. But just briefly, if I can digress for a second, when it comes to rests, it's exactly the same as normal notes. You get a whole note that you play, but you also get a whole note rest. So a rest that lasts for 4 beats. Then you get a half rest for 2 beats, quarter rest, 1 beat, and then obviously your eighth rest, and then your 16th rest. So when I say rest, I mean this total silence. So for instance, if I play 2 quarter notes and then do a half rest after that, it will look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, because a rest lasts for 2 beats, and that's the 3 and 4 there. Okay, so like I said before, we have 2 eighth notes going into a quarter note, and then there's a half rest, and that's the first half of the bridges. So that'll be 1 and 2. All right. So again, 1 and 2. So that's going to be the rhythm then. Then there's a rest after that. So then it would be 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. All right. So the 3 and the 4 will be your half rest. Okay. So if I were to play that, practically it would look like this. 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. All right, now no repeat sign here. We go straight to the second half of the bridge. Now, second half of the bridge is all eighth notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right. Now, after that, what you'll see is at the end of the song, there is again going to be a whole note tied to another whole note. So we're going to play the note and it's going to last for 8 beats. So it'll sound like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, cool. Guys, I really hope that helped you understand rhythms a little better. Obviously, I was playing guitar along to this, but this would apply to any instrument. You could play these rhythms on any instrument. It's just to show you guys practically how rhythms are incorporated into a song. All right, guys, until our next lesson, I hope you guys have a fantastic week and that you're all well rested and that you're having fun. Cheers, guys.